What's up, everyone? My name's Brenner. Welcome to my channel. This is Mr. Liquor Sipper, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to identify my top 5 bourbons that you can pick up right now that are within a reasonable price range, that are not allocated, are not super specific, and not hard to obtain. All this was inspired by Jason from the Mash and Drum.
So aside from special releases that folks don't really talk about too much or overlook or forget about. Bourbons, mind you, that I think are better than a lot of these special releases that have been dropping endlessly. So today, I have 5 of these bottles that you can pretty much buy today with no inflated prices, no press releases, just damn good bourbons to enjoy.
So if you're interested in seeing what my pick of my top 5 are, in no particular order, I don't think, I just kind of went through and picked them off the shelf behind me. If you're interested, let's find out what are my top 5. Let's go. Special thanks to Jason from the Mash and Drum for letting me use a little bit of his footage just so I could get the point across of who I got this idea from, because I don't want to plagiarize. I don't want to be the asshole here. But number 1 on this list, it's gotta be no other than Crown Royal. I'm just kidding. This is backwards, and it's not even a flippin' bourbon. This is crap. I only have this up here for people that come over and for whatever reason they like Canadian type stuff. The only Canadian stuff that I really mess with right now is Whistle Pig. Anyway, let's get to the real life here. So number 1 on the list is going to be Johnny Drum. I found this on a list when I was doing some research, and this particular bottle of Johnny Drum just kept coming up. What you can expect from Johnny Drum is comes in at about $49.99, so roughly 50 bucks. Could be a little bit higher, a little bit less. It's a undisclosed distiller. It states on here that it is private stock. Comes in at 101 proof, so it definitely is one of those bottles that is competing with your Fighting Cock or your 101s that are out there. This is a little bit different, a little bit more sophisticated. Comes in with a slight punch of tobacco that's in there, the caramel vanilla that you're always going to get with your bourbons, but there's also some hints of custard, and then some nice smoky char that comes across in here. Super good, super nice, super easy to sip on, and it's going to be probably ranked at my number 5 of my top 5, but it's still in there. Everything I just said, though, I just want you guys to know that these are not going to be always your typical stuff and your 100% known brand names, because I'm a little bit against the grain and I want to do some stuff that's going to shine some light on some other things. But all that being said, every time I come into my room in here, for whatever reason lately, I've been kind of avoiding some of the bigger name type stuff. Alright, so number 4. Even though I say number 4, I'm counting down for whatever reason, I don't know, because there is no particular order, but this next one is going to be Baker's. Now, I believe this was also on the Mash and Drum. This one in particular actually comes in at 8 years and 1 month, but it has to be at least 7 years and beyond. I think I've seen bottles that go all the way up to like a little bit beyond a 9-year mark. Now, some of the things that you can expect is that you're going to pay $60 for this bottle. I think on the list that I have right now, that's going to be the most expensive bottle. It's coming in at 107 proof. The reason I think I like this is because this is probably maybe a little bit nostalgia for me. As I started to get more and more into bourbon, this was something that was very well balanced and had a lot of character that came into it. It was very, it had like some spiced vanilla, and almost reminds me of a complex rye in a way. But it's also very well balanced. It has a lot of sweetness that comes into it within a strong punch of cinnamon that's in there. I don't know where the cinnamon comes from, but I took this, not this exact bottle, but one of the bottles that I had bought in the past to a music studio with me when I was recording some music out in Houston. And that was the general consensus, is that it just had a nice little cinnamon spice that was in there, and I think that's what attracted me to it. So this could be a nostalgic reasoning as to why I really enjoy this bottle, but also if you're looking to get into the higher proof of things, but then looking for something that's well bodied and has good balance to it, then this Baker 7, as far as the bang for your buck, you're getting a potential 9-year aged bourbon. It's a good one to find. Next on the list, you have Walking Stick. So I actually did a review on this bottle. It is reminiscent, or it shares some of the similar qualities as far, if you're looking at this bottle and the Johnny Drum bottle, they're kind of similar in shape. So for whatever reason in my brain, I'm like, oh, these are kind of similar. They are, but they're not. This one I put at, I guess, probably a number 3 on the list. This is something that's newer to me. My brother sent it to me. I talked about this in the review. If you guys are interested in that review, you guys can go back and find that. I might throw it up just so it's easier for you guys to navigate. This comes in at a 90 proof. It can be found for roughly $40. What's cool about this is it's like a secret weapon bottle that comes out of a Sazerac. I would say it's number 2 or number 3 on the list, if I'm being honest. It has a very fruit-forward, nice, sweet taste. It's almost so easy to sip that I would presume it to be, if I did a blind tasting and this was coming in at an 80 proof. Has a nice thin mouthfeel, which is weird for me to say because I don't typically like a thinner mouthfeel, but because of that thin mouthfeel, I think it helps with the smoothness that does come across. It's a super easy sipper, super enjoyable, and one of my new found favorites. Now, as anyone could imagine, you can't have a list without having a little bit of Old Forester on there. Now, what Old Forester? This Old Forester was another, when I was reading, I actually found Johnny Drum and Old Forester on the same list. Now, this one can be found for $50 to $60, and this one comes in at 100 proof. It is the Old Forester 1897. Let's just slide this one like this so you guys can see it. So it's the Old Forester 1897. And this one comes from Brown-Forman Distillery. So this one right here is the one that I had a tough time putting at my number 1 list or my number 2 on the list. I put it as number 2, and I'm regretting that now because I really feel like it deserves the number 1 spot. And I'm gonna explain why. So you have your 1910s for Old Forester, and then you have your 1920. Now, initially, I didn't even know that the 1897 bottle, at the time when I did both of those reviews, I didn't know that the 1897 even existed, and so it was almost a toss-up between between the 1910 and 1920, and I think it was more of like what type of day you're having, as far as if do you want that 115 proof, or are you looking for something that's a little bit lower with a 1910 at a 93 proof. For me, I feel like the 1897 bottle itself encompasses the greatest parts of each. It's a solid mix of your sweet and your spice, prominent flavors of dark fruit, and a great balance of oak. But I feel like they took the 1910 and 1920 and they split both bottles in half, and then they poured it into this one and created a full bottle, because I feel like it has the best elements of both, which is what made me love this bottle so much. And like I said, it just used to depend on the day. If I was having a whatever day I wanted, a higher proof day, then I was gonna go to that 1920. And if I wanted the lower proof day, then it was going to be the 1910. But it's always been within the flavor profile. It's always been a fight for me. And this one just encompasses the greatness of both and what I look for in a solid, strong bourbon. I encourage you guys to go out and drink it if you haven't. I think that the 1910 and the 1920 Old Foresters, they have such a well-known audience, and people discuss them so much that I think the 1897 doesn't get the credit it actually deserves. Now I need a little spritz and a refresh. It was hard for me not to put this one on a list because I feel like this was probably a staple even in the beginning, before the Bakers came about. And And to be honest with you, the real reason I got into this was because of a select pick. This is not the select pick. This is the Woodford Reserve Double Oaked. I'm sure that many of you that are out there are not surprised at this one at all. And again, this is a toss-up between the two. So of the 1897, you're gonna get completely different profiles on this one. This one, what really makes me enjoy this is that, one, the price point's not too bad. You're looking at a $50 to $60 price point. Your proof is a nice simple 90.4 proof that you're getting into. It's not harsh, it's not bitter, you're not getting any dryness really from this double oaked. And what I really like about it is that it encompasses a lot of different flavors. It has a very broad profile range of your cinnamon, your nutmeg, has dark red cherries in this, but what really captivated me was the coffee, which is subtle, and then on the back end of the palate, it's like there's this nice dark chocolate that goes along with it, which struck me as something that is good for anniversary time frame for you guys that are, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes. Okay, that was some bad singing, but this one's good for romantic involvements, romantic pleasures. If you're having your chocolate and your cherries, then this is something that I think is going to actually complement the whiskey, and more than likely it's going to complement whatever you're doing, whatever you're doing that evening. It's a good one. One of my favorites. It's something I always have to have stocked. As you guys can tell, I'm running out. That's because both my wife and I both enjoy this one very much. And in my time of 3 years, though it may not sound like many, but amongst all of the other bottles, I think I've probably bought at least 10 of these things because I enjoy them so much. And that's from the start of me doing this channel, or the beginning of me starting this channel, up to this point now. So almost 3 years. All that being said, this one and this one, I don't know, I almost want to do like a side-by-side test here for one of these, or a face-off. That's what I got today for everyone here. If you are looking for the best of, or the top 5, I want you guys to know my top 5 is obviously going to be different than everyone else's, including Jason from Mash and Drum, where he actually picked one of the similar bottles that I liked as well. Profiles are going to change from person to person. Some folks out there like the more spicier type stuff, so you're going to lean more towards the rye side, and then some people lean more towards the sweeter side. And also I believe that it goes along with a specific mood, but I went into this as open-minded as possible, and I think some of these capture some of the essence of some of the ryes and some of the spicier stuff that you would be more interested in having if you're more rye friendly, such as this Baker's here. But if you're looking at the stuff that I've chosen here and say, man, this guy likes a lot of the sweeter stuff, that's because my profile is just keen on the sweeter stuff. I don't eat a lot of candy. If I do, I'll buy the candy, and then my wife is like, why do you buy candy and then you don't eat it? And then I come home and then the candy's gone. So I try to save it sparingly, but I do like the sweeter stuff. And yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, everyone. I appreciate you guys jumping in the channel with me, jumping in the glass, sipping on some information with me. Don't forget to tell your friends, tell your homies, tell everyone in between about Mr. Liquor Sipper, the fastest growing whiskey YouTube review channel that is out there in the land of Oz, in the land of the world, in the whiskey world, in the whiskey, bourbon, everything, whatever. Yeah. So, and until next time, cheers and keep on sipping.